some unknown quantities in NA on the right-hand side, and then a team we know so well on the left-hand side in KDS. RT, yes, it is going to be picked up, so we have that question answered. Squeak is also going to have another showing, and Spike, I think we're going to see Spike all day long, either in the ban or pick phase, Pedro.
Yeah, I mean, it was not a RT first pick, right? But as you say, it was a Spike.
Oh,
Spike is something that we see a lot in the region. Also yesterday on SA, obviously it's a really strong player with that Buffy. Is really good. It's a really good brawler. But second pick was surprise. Was RT, and that Squeak that gave you a lot of flex, a lot of control. Really good in late game. So still not safe against throwers. We see this Brock that also good at breaking. But still, I'm afraid we could see some throwers. Probably will not, but you always need to be careful of that.
If they pick Byron now, it's going to be the same exact comp that we've just seen before, Kenny.
Yeah, and it unfortunately wasn't a winning one, I'll point out, too. The Squeak, to me, is an area control brawler, but on top of that, do you think that's a way to address Spike specifically in the life plan?
Yeah, I think Squeak can hold really good. You should try not to feed too much for the late game, but so if you reach the late game, Squeak don't have super, Spike don't have super, for me, Squeak will win.
We're going to see what they're going to go with as last pick. Have a black flex bowler already in that. RT pretty good in the long run. Squeak to hold on to the lanes at the beginning. I could still see a take here. We have some squishy brawlers on the right-hand side. I would love a good take, and honestly also quite good into Nanny. Another counter to Nanny, though, is going to be Jean. You want to have Tick or Jean, usually, to counter the gadget that bounces back the shot to your opponent.
Little pesky damage dealer there. Not often that you see a Bobby Jean as a 6th pick overall, but nonetheless, KDS, Bobby have been playing for a first month to go well for years now, ever since 2023, making that 2nd place. Heartbreak along the way. Now he's got a 3rd that's a friend. Been with him for a long time. Some remnants of NA West looking to make a Slash-only realm here, looking to play spoilers. Several of them have been around the block. This isn't their first rodeo, but I will say this is a huge test to kick off their 2026.
Yeah, I really like that Jean super because, I mean, that Jean pick because Jean is going to apply a lot of damage. Seems like surprisingly, but it's going to be really good because every hit that RT will hit, Jean 99% will hit the pop and will do a lot of damage. I really like this synergy. It's the same, similar to Tick RT, right? You put the mark on RT, Tick, or in this case, Jean will always pop that mark. So it's going to be a really good damage from that side.
Interesting starting line as well. A lot of the times, pro players are going to fully engage on that left-hand side if you're looking from the blue side, and then the red will go down that right-hand lane. And they'll just kind of walk forward. It becomes an east-west affair. In this situation, looked like KDS to start had a member down the middle, the left, and the right. They were playing it much more traditionally, while the red roster was all clustered on that top right. Looks like everybody has migrated. Ducky has already charged up a super. Bobby dishing out some shots, including a gadget. No super available, though. 97 HP for the Brock will keep him afloat. Vengeful Spirits go down. This is a fair fight. Now Rocket Rain makes contact. 1v1 situation. Patchy being tested early. Lands the singular shot that he needed. It'll be KDS taking the round.
Yeah, we can see how important is the pressure here, right? Even if the was only Rain with the first team getting the first kill, the pressure was so high from KDS that still got the game, right? So it's really important that pressure these early games where you approach, or if you go right, you go left, is really important because normally you want to have a slow game, something you want to push, but for sure the other team will have the same idea, so it's really important the melta game that you have on the early games.
Full team fight and how scrappy that opening round was will allow for both teams to charge so many supers, including a hyper charge for the right-handed. Oh, look at the nasty pull out of Patchy, making his debut with KDS count. Unbelievable stuff.
Yeah, I don't know if that was they had vision or not, or was a flame pull, but it was insane for Patchy.
Beautifully executed. These are 3 players historically known in NA, very respected across the region. Now only Realm. Down to 2 members. Hypercharge super available. David doing his best to multitask alongside this, and now it's Ducky left all alone. Not a chance in the world. Patchy was even ready to go with another magic hand. KDS, calm, cool, collected. This is one of those that Bobby has said that he expects to win. They want to make sure that they're managing this in the early season and take advantage of the bracket that's been given to them.
Yeah, I mean, you can see that we know KDS, they are really chill players, right? They know, they have been there, they know the pressure. So they are, even if they win, they lose, we will not see them nervous. So even, and they are controlling the whole game, right? Even if that pool was insane, they already had the control, they were already making all Green to hide on the bush. So even if it seems like that was a risky pull that made the win. They already had the game.
Full flank on this right-hand side as Bobby, unfortunately brings it off that wall there and goes down. Devastating stuff.
Yeah, the punish really good at the squeak, right? You miss the gadget, do out-position yourself. We don't get damage, we are full HP, you are gonna die.
Patchy, though, still remaining aggressive. I think just trying to charge up as much super as possible, but on the other end, it's going to allow for Ducky to have one in the back pocket. I believe Spike up top there is going to have one. I can see the little circle as he rotates towards this right-hand side. The only one left is Brock. So Sans has a difficult decision. Likely just going to be conceding this round, I imagine. Will try and go into the fog. And the only motivation for that is to try and avoid giving more utility to the enemy team.
Yeah, I mean, RT at this point is pretty cook, right? He just needs to fit a bit. He's not gonna use the super for anything probably in that matchup, but if he get a hypercharge for late game, can be really good. So I'm pretty sure he's dead at this point, but I hope he has hit one or two hits.
Yeah, for KDS's sake. Oh, and it looks like he's a gunner again. They had enough time to get another elimination. So KDS actually in a world of hurt. Ooh, and just off the marker as well. One step away, I think Patchy lands that, but Nani in the back lines. You couldn't see it off screen, but that peep was rotating on up the map. Bobby gets a kill, almost made magic happen. Instead, though, it's RLM taking care of business. They get the job done, but now they forced this into a 1-1 situation. Only Realm, I don't think have a lot of expectations from people. You saw it from the event site. About 83, I believe, 85 roughly % we're siding with KDS. So Only Realm, not just underdogs, but across the world, people are really counting them out.
I think they're a bit unknown at this point, and they are facing Bobby, probably one of top 3 most famous players in the world right now. So yeah, I mean, for the audience, it's completely normal. And I hope they can show us that the audience is wrong, right?
Oh, and an early lead here for KDS. Nice tap there from Sans, doing much better to start out this game number 3. Felt like in that game 2 was what costed them in that round number 3, excuse me, the one that conceded the round, as David now back up. This is where things get really tough on this map too. Once KDS have a grip on the walls here, David either has to force a super through, which now he's no longer going to do for sure, that he's left all alone, but Bobby can just simply get a few taps in there. David doing his best, he's being pinched. Everybody's just going to get supercharge off this man, and Bobby and Sans will walk into the next round with a super in the pocket.
Yeah, Only Realm is a tricky position now, right? Because they suffered the late game, so they really need to push really hard on early, so maybe they can get an early kills that they did on the second game. But the Squeak and Jin punish so much if you come aggression and you don't get the kill.
So all KDS clustered on this left-hand side, can be dodging some curveball. RLM sending Ducky, Brock on the right-hand in, trying to play together. Imagine Spike's rotating. Yeah, you can see him tiptoeing his way up on the top side of the map, so I think there's going to be a little bit more team play here.
Yeah, they're going to play a bit more slow. They try to go aggro, didn't work. Maybe they're going to wait, try to get some nanny heads, put them low, maybe get some kills. But if they get to late game, they're going to suffer a lot. I don't know if that's the best solution, but they tried to go aggro, didn't work. Probably they are a bit desperate now. Maybe they are missing ideas, not so creative at this point. And let's see what they can do.
Large shot coming out of Brock there from the gadget. Few extra taps in there. Nani connects the peep. Not enough for a kill. Of course, Gene going to be able to give some magic puffs, try and heal up the teammates with the fog closing in. Pressure on the beautiful pull once again. Patchy now 2 for 2. Extra tap there from Sans in the follow-up, but this could be an RLM round. Hypercharge goes down. Patchy hasn't moved a muscle, and Only Realm take it, tie things up. What looked so good for KDS all of a sudden swung around.
Yeah, I mean, that Spike was really good. That he managed to put a lot of pressure and get 2 kills, I think, on the late game. So it was really good for him. But he wastes everything, right? He wastes hyper, he wastes super. Probably he's not going to be able to charge it again for the end of this round, but maybe Nani can do something about it.
A real full commitment there, because Only Realm, of course, had to win the round. Otherwise, the set is over. Now they're just going to have to rely on the regular shots. David has already charged up another super, though, and Sans still holds on to him with all these walls going down. Brock has been tearing the map apart. The legs from RT and the static aren't going to be as effective.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, it's just a slow game. Really slow. Let's see who can get super, who can get more value at the end. I can expect Sans and Patchy being close to hypercharge. Probably Patchy, he did 2 pulls, if I'm not wrong. So he should, I mean, like this is his second pull, so he should be close to hypercharge.
Should be working his way there. Got to make it count as the Vengeful Spirits go out. David now cutting off this left-hand lane. Bobby, though, simply tapping on the Brock. The long-range brawler gets dealt with a squishy blob, and there goes Patchy once again. The pull comes through and will surely win KDS the round. Beautiful execution out of the old-time guard.
Yeah, I think it was really hard for these guys of Realms, Only Realms, was really bad. I'm not going to say draft, but the setup that they did, how KDS knew how to play them was really hard, and were close actually to win. So that's really good from them. Maybe if they get more similar matchup, more 50-50, they can win some sets, and maybe they can put KDS into the corner.
I think that was a pretty ideal start, all things considered, from Only Realm. I mean, clearly, based on predictions at home, the expectation is bar none. They're even playing with a substitute at this point at the last second, who's a good player, has been around in monthly finals before, played monthly qualifiers a ton, but nonetheless doesn't have the resume of a Patchy, a Sans, and a Bobby. You know, these guys have made worlds. Both of these players and teams nearly beat the team that ended up winning it all in 2023. Yeah. I mean, what an historic match from that Luminosity Gaming Zeta division, Stamina and Zeta's rivalry at that Worlds as well. So these guys know what they're doing, and it finally feels like they're starting to put it all together. Still smiles out for Patchy. You talked about it earlier, and I'm sure you know it all too well just from being around the sport for so many years now. The more years you add on, the more comfortable you feel in these situations. And for players like David, Ducky, Sam, you know, they haven't been in pressure situations as much, and that makes a difference in those final moments.
Yeah, we can see those 7 kills from Patchy. These days we don't have those really good genes, right? But he was really impressive. He didn't miss a single pull. He even pulled as soon as he had the super. His really good reaction is obviously, you know it beforehand, that's your plan. But missing those early and risky pulls is common these days.
Yeah.
I miss some. Back then we used to have really, really good genes. I think these days there is not too many main genes in the teams, but this was impressive from him.
You can always tell it's a special gene when they're not just holding on to the yellow button. They're not pre-aiming it. It felt like he was just clicking. Tap, click, and an insta-lock. And he did that 3 times, all equating to kills. Just shows that level of power that this man has. I mean, has been around. He's still young, all things considered. I think to you and me that are officially unks at this point in the game, we're still young people overall, but these guys are in their prime. Patchy, in a lot of standards, now been around Brawl esports for several years. What is he, 19 though? Even for Bobby, I mean, he's an older quote-unquote player, but dude's still in his 20s. People are so young, living, learning, and I think Patchy is finally at a point where he's really been able to mature, and it's moments like that that show it.
I mean, he have shared a team with really good players all around the globe, even. And yeah, I mean, we can expect a long career for him. Even those rumors that say they were going to retire a few times, I don't know if it's true. I don't know if it's...
If he keeps landing gene pulls like that, I hope we don't see him retire. I mean, this guy still got it.
Yeah, now we cannot wait more to jump into Ring of Fire with the first pick Poco. Let me check the bans 1 second. Okay, all the buffies, Brawlers out, obviously. And how would you respond to that?
Well, with things gone, I feel like the mid choices get a little more peculiar. We saw this interaction on the previous draft too, but now Lu becomes more of a factor as well, I think, because you can't really go Lu into Poco. So I wonder if this is a setup for later on that gives KDS the flexible choice of going with that brawler.
Yeah, normally you could counter that. It's interesting because you can have the Crow or the Lu that counter the Poco cons, but not really the Poco gadget, right? So overall, it can work against Pocos, but if you have good gadget in the right timing, and you always have the cycle the gadget, right? So when the other enemy have the gadget, it can be really painful.
So this is going to be a contrast to what we saw earlier, because I think somebody like Pierce really showed up a lot this weekend, and the win rate's been kind of all over the place depending on the region, and especially into something like a Poco if they're going to be looking to assist that with some health points. I think it's really tough. Pierce is a great brawler, but you still have to make those connections, make those taps, and obviously if it's brawlers, obviously Frank banned, but even if it's some other tank or assassin, they can really have a field day with somebody like Pierce. So I think you have to be cautious still, and I think that's why we see brawlers like Pam still show up on this map. It's not always the most prioritized mid, but Scrapsucker is really effective at bringing down the powerful brawlers. And there's that Lu that I mentioned a second ago. I just think because, like you said, the Poco gadget is an effective way of dealing with Lu. Lu great into Poco's teammates, not Poco specifically.
Yeah, I mean, and Lu is great into Pam, right? You can just feed a lot, and especially you put the super on top, and you just get a lot of time, right? We have seen so many Lu like teams full killing Lu teams. But if the super is on top on the circle that we need to go for, you just get a lot of time to respawn, get the fight together. Anything
standing out to you in this 6th pick? So we now see Poco, Lu, Kaze. I mean, what kinds of brawlers, even if you don't have a specific one in mind, what mold are they looking for? Obviously, the Mina came through, but what was the logic behind that?
Yeah, I mean, behind to counter a Kaze, there is 2 options, right? Either you go for a full counter of Kaze, it can be Frank with his ban, right? You can be Otis, can be something that basically stop aggression, or you can have more aggro against and just make the Kaze busy.
So going to be looking for that Mina matchup throughout this. The Poco-Lu combo is fierce. Obviously, Lu with the freeze, very effective of dealing with that hot zone. The super will be able to circle around it, give your team a little more percentage points. It's not always about the kills in this game mode. It's all about building up those valuable percentage points. KDS, 1-0 lead. The timed veterans taking on Only Realm, looking to start something up for their squad, playing with the last-second substitute. They've definitely got an uphill battle, but they had a great performance in that set one.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to see something really similar from both sides, right? We have one aggro, and then we have another 2v2. So the 2v2 need to fight the 2v2 while you are dealing with the aggro, right? We're not going to see 2v2 and 1v1 in one lane. We're going to see that 2v2 with an aggro on his neck, trying to do so much trouble as possible. And probably Mina and Kathy are not going to fight too much against each other.
All of RLM is in the middle of the map right now. You can see it there. Patchy's low HP, likely a goner, even if he survives. Poco is not somebody that can play very aggressively alone. Not a solo play kind of brawler. To your point, a lot of the times on this map, we'll see a couple brawlers engage in the middle side of the map, and then depending on their assassins, in this case, Kaze, Mina, won't always just go up the middle. They're going to be trying to flank. And the ultimate goal of this map especially, if you can get into that enemy side grass and just distract the enemies, you're forcing them to move their way around and flank off. That's taking more players off the middle of the map to go focus on you.
Yeah, of course. And I'm going to use this opportunity to talk about the stats of KDS. Okay, we are back. But basically, I want to say that they have trained the Poco so much. Maybe like 50% of the stream have been with Poco, so I don't know if it's going to work, but they should know how to make it work.
Clearly a comfort brawler, and that makes sense why they take it first overall. David being back down, Sands starting up the middle of the map, looking to try and build a little space so Bobby can more play that back line, but Ducky instigating a fight. Patchy drops the hypercharge super, bubbles for everybody, extra health points, and will make dealing with Ducky the assassin a little bit easier. Up top though, Sand's having a hard time, multiple brawlers. Crow diving in very aggressively, will get up in Patchy's grill, but won't be able to get a takedown quite yet. Gonna need assistance from David, but a nice rotated super. Sands with daggers, David is surely going to fall. What a play there from KDS.
I mean, KDS was suffering. Wait 1 second. Can they make it? Yeah, they will make it, because they do a team kill. Yeah, KDS was suffering a lot there, but they were being able to rotate a bit on the point. So you heal up a bit, I get the percentage. We are getting killed, but we are getting the point, right? Sometimes you need to go for the point, sometimes you need to side for percentage in this case, and this is what they do, and they get time enough so the teammate death, I think it was Sans, got time enough to come back and help.
A lot of really interesting rotations there. I think KDS playing this well, just making sure that they have a body on this hot zone at all times. Patchy can either heal Bobby, Sands can get up front to create space. There's so many opportunities for them to win. This windmill gadget going to be an important one. They have to play around this. It allows David to expand. Scrapsucker going down, but Patchy is A-okay right now, has a super in the back pocket, uses it, preserves KDS's life, and now they're still harboring the middle.
Yeah, Mina is making a bit more, not even going to say pressure, because Mina is doing a lot of pressure, but Kathy is doing more time on the enemy side. So that's allowed your team, in this case Bobby, which is the one that is getting the percentage, right, to be all there all the time. So yeah, we have almost 50% to 7.
Well, dive in from Crow. Doesn't take down Bobby or Patchy. I mean, puts a little bit of pressure on them, but David, even despite having a healing station established, just hasn't been able to move up the map at all. I mean, we're already climbing past 50% here.
Yeah, I mean, this Mina shield is not being enough time on the field, so you can really do that pressure for a long time. If you don't hit the 3K too much, you are not going to get the kills on Poco, so it's going to be really hard for him to do the same pressure that Sans can do just with a storm.
I'm sure Bobby would want that one back, but nonetheless, they still get a couple of takedowns that allows them to expand their territory. And Patchy and Bobby just really haven't had to move a muscle. They've just been running up and down on this hot zone. Ducky once again taken down early. A dash in from Sands. David gonna be in trouble. Oh, and another team kill. Masterclass set coming out of KDS. Clearly, the Poco was a comfort pick, and they excelled. Now a 2-0 lead for the favorites.
Yeah, I see them really calm, really controlling the situation all the time, even when the game was going a bit chaotic. I could see that they knew that was going to happen. They know how to react to that situation, and they know how to handle it. And that's what we saw. I mean, they know. I think they got stomped this time, the Only Realms guy, but I think they still have a chance to come back.
Yeah, I think looking back on that too, you mentioned it felt like, or at least in the stats, that Poco was somebody that was played a ton by KDS. You see the bans on that top right there, Spike, Ims, and Ali. If I'm Only Realm, even if I know that they're comfortable with the Poco, do you really want to give up any of those bans for Poco, knowing that it's a KDS comfort, or do you still stick to the same thing?
I mean, depend of your strategy, right? Sometimes you just want to ban what is good in the map, so you can bring your own strat to the game. But when you are the underdog and you are facing a top team, I would just ban their comfort zone and just try to surprise, right? We have seen that in the past. We have seen that yesterday. We have seen that last weekend, and that works. So why not? I mean, you don't have nothing to lose. They have a lot to lose, so you just need to impress.
Definitely giving it their all. Definitely not as strong of a set, though, in the second one compared to the first. But clearly, David, Ducky, and Sam have shown that they've got the skills to at least make this competitive. KDS, though, still comfortable, locked in. They are not just focused on this match. They're trying to take care of business, get this little 3-0 victory, and then move on to the next one. Familiar opponents everywhere in North America. Now for set number 3, we're heading to an entirely new game mode, of course. I believe this is going to be Bridge Too Far. We talked about this a little bit at the top, but this one, to me at least, and like Sonny said, strikes me as a little more unique in the fact that it really is skill diff, as you put it.
Yeah, I mean, you always, when new rookies come out and you young team qualify, normally it's because of a skill, right? Because sometimes they miss this experience, this maybe draft, this. So normally they shine on skill to get to that qualification of multi finals. And this is their chance to prove, right? This is the chance to show that they are more skilled than Bobby, more skilled than Stans, and more skilled than Pachi. That is hard to say.
Yeah, I mean, especially for the highlight reel in the career, it'd be really nice to have some skill diffs on the players of calibers like Patchy, Sands, Bobby. I mean, the interactions on the Twitterverse would go quite well for these guys. On Bridge Too Far especially, bands I'm looking out for, yeah, there's the Train Conductor. Chuck has to be on that list. Other than that, though, some unique ones that maybe you're not going to see everywhere. Angelo in the water traversing brawlers like Eve. I'm a little surprised, too, as we process this. Colt wasn't in the ban stage. I feel like that's very normal, right?
Yeah, exactly. We haven't seen it before. I think in any region.
Yeah, this feels new. I mean, it's very rare that
new,
we see
but
it.
it's because it's banned all the time.
Yeah.
It's really strong now. You have a lot of range. You have a lot of damage, especially. You are even, or you can decide if to have even more range or even faster. So it's easier for the 1v1. And if you get him on the lane, it's insane amount of damage.
I feel like KDS had to intentionally do this, right? Just Colt being banned so frequently, I think they probably anticipate that the right-hand side is going to grab a Colt just out of how much DPS he can do. With buff, he's significantly better, but their way to combat this so far has been 8-bit. Somebody I don't feel like we saw as much maybe in EMEA in the East Asia weekend, but it feels like in South America and now North America today, it's come to light a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, the basics. It's easy, right? It's really slow though, but if you get to the safe, you have a lot of HP, you have a lot of damage. We can see it normally with the Brock, right? You put a turret on the Brock and the Brock do insane damage in the safe. So, and once again, this is all about the damage. This is all about the objective, and in this case, the objective is to do damage. But they still need a last pick to stop that call. I think that call can put them into trouble a lot. If you play speed, you are going to dodge the Brock and the 8-bit really good, so you will win the 1v1. So it's really important to find a last pick for that. Knowing that is really good for only realms because you know that the enemy last pick is going to be for your call, so you can do whatever at this point, right? You can just go to 2 picks to just do more damage, or just hold 8-bit or Rico, or just help the call to get to the safe. Now you have much more flexibility to build your comp.
So this 4-5 pick, they're going to be looking for more independent matchups, is kind of what I think you're getting at. Or if they just want to overwhelm them with damage, they can go that direction as well. So Nani, a sharpshooter that deals well with sharpshooters, will be a great lane matchup into Brock if they choose that. Obviously, they get one more selection here. Now, depending on what this is, of course, what are you looking for? What are the kinds of brawlers on this map that can specifically deal with that cult?
I mean, Piper is really good. That's why we see the Nani, right? Bell is banned, but any snipers that have a bit more range than Cole will make the deal. Probably we are going to see something like Piper, even though you're going to suffer against Nani and Eve. I think is need because if not the Cole. The Eve is really good because will support a lot the Cole. So if you do anything to destroy that Cole, even at this point, even the Piper, I don't know if it's going to work.
It would also add to the logic behind this 4-5 turn of Eve, who has spawners doing well, into something like a Piper, of course. But instead, they're going to go with Lola. Now, you said yesterday, I believe, we should be looking out for this brawler. I know in EMEA scrims, it showed up just a little bit here and there. Why is it popping off on this mode specifically?
I think since the lanes are not that wide, it's really easy to maybe not get the kills, but hold really easy. You at the start you suffer a bit because you don't have the shadow, but once you have your clone, it's much easier to push. And once you have the lane, it's really in good hands. That's very important. It's really hard to come back on the lane.
Unique draft here on Bridge Too Far. KDS currently up 2-0 against the Youngins. A long-time trio on this left-hand side. Be looking to once again make a semifinals. One of the storylines that's haunted Bobby's career, unfortunately, early on in the season, has not only gone his way. For 2026 to kick things off, he's an opportunity to right that.
Yeah, we can see that the Colt is playing the speed star power. It's going to be really hard for 8-bit to get a kill there. Maybe he can push sometimes, but Colt will always come back. Probably he should not die. Right? Like if you die, 8-bit will do the damage. If you don't die, at least you can hold the 8-bit, right? And at some point you will get 8-bit, so you can do the damage later. It's really important that speed that allows you to be everywhere, and also with the help of if you can retreat a bit, heal up, tell your teammate to cover your lane. He can ignore a bit the mid. In this case, it's the Brock matchup, and Eevee can do a really good job controlling the map.
Yeah, curious to see how that interaction goes between something like Colt and 8-bit, because I think those are two brawlers that I'm looking out for to try and polish off that high safe. As we jump back in here, Only Realm have penetrated through that opening high safe percentage, so 75% are our first market we're looking out for. Ducky, of course, does have a hypercharge super. He's bold. He's going to pop it right in the middle of the map. Is he having that TP gadget that we're used to seeing on the Heist? He's going to wind this up, looking for contact, and I think now just going to teleport the other way. Once he didn't get that kill, 4,800 shots are clear to rain down.
I mean, he wanted to help a bit the Cold lane, right? He missed a bit. He didn't want to waste completely the head and just TP. That was a missed move from Eve because he put the hyper super next to the wall, so Brock can basically two-shot around the wall and get it, but it's still game.
Wow, Only Realm really running away with that game. It felt like once Colt got on that heist safe, just shredding through it. And we know it too. It's why it's banned so frequently and why we were both surprised to see it slip through.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even realize that the save was that low. Probably was the nanny on the back doing all the damage. They kind of tried to forget about the nanny, but the nanny damage alone on the save, if you hit these 3 small barrels, is a lot of damage.
Yeah, deceptive amount of damage there, and it's a great lane matchup. So I'm curious to see off the start how all of these teams will maneuver around this. Bobby this time on the left-hand lane going against David. We've got 8-bit up the middle of the map. Patchy doing his best to hold the lane, but just going to be outranged to a degree by the other two brawlers.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Nani is the MVP here, right? He has the lane that he should be able to lose, and we saw him clapping the Lola a few times. Now they forget about each other, they just do the save. Patchy don't have the shadow, so it's not that much damage, and the Nani can do insane problems on the enemy side.
So now Patchy's going to use the spawner to body block, but has wasted his super in the process. Ducky retaking this lane as Sands moves up the middle of the map. Now he's going to appear on the top of your screen, going against David here. Going to be a little skill information here. It's, oh, a double takedown as well. David barely holding on too, so now they can expand. Moving down this left-hand lane, David going to get all established in the grass, spawners as well. This could add up real quickly for Only Realm.
Yeah, Sam with that Eve is doing so good works. He's doing so a good job. He's winning all the time the enemy lanes, as we just saw. He also, when the teammates died, he can cover really good. Seems like he's not doing much, but he's getting so many kills.
Ducky's still maintaining on the right hand of him as well, and they haven't dealt with the pest in David on the left-hand side. On top of that, plenty of pests raining down the map from Eve. The little hatchlings are so difficult. Now Patchy just kind of has to force his way up the middle. David there to answer. A hypercharge being popped for multiple brawlers here as RLM goes down this right-hand side. A few 5K shots, a 4-8 running in there as well. It's back and forth. This is a true base race.
Yeah, they managed to. They went all in on the mid, right? Got the 8-bit turret. Did a lot of damage. Did it die? No, they 2%, but they got the shield, which is really important, and yes, it's tie now.
Patchy with a few chip shots. Ducky running the star power that gives him a shield whenever he has popped the peep, but now has to back off because Patchy is landing a ton of shots. Finally, KDS with the lead.
Yeah, I mean, Bobby need to get that shield. That 2% missing for that shield is really important. Once you get the shield, you have an insane advantage. That 3 seconds, I think, that the shield is up, give you a lot of breathe. And to get those percentages is really important.
That 2% really important for KDS. If they can beat them to at least the next high save percentage, they probably won't lose this. There it is. Little chip shot coming in from Patchy, but now they have to worry about defense here. This could ultimately be a tie, depending on how this goes down. Trades on both ends. Eve getting a few in there. Nani goes up for 1-2, but Bobby on the other end will beat them in the race. Such a close call, but KDS on match point.
Yeah, literally, we'll say those 3 seconds that the red team had to wait to keep doing damage was game changer here. Brock knew it, he just gadget up, did the 3 auto aim on the save game.
Underrated skill. You gotta do some quick math on Heist. It's in those final moments where everything is happening, chaotic agents everywhere, and Bobby just slips through, walks up the middle of the map, and knows he has it. They had that 2% buff. They could get through that final 25% a little bit faster. Keep in mind, that Heist safe has a reload feature, if you will. It has a shield that goes up, so you can't just do 100% like the good old days. KDS having that advantage just sent Bobby up, and they could win the race with those final few seconds.
Yeah, they're putting a bit more pressure this time to get the Colt on the save. We couldn't see the Colt doing free damage because KDS is putting a lot of effort to avoid that. And now they decide to concede a bit of damage on the mid, on the air bit to take on the save. So Eevee completely forget about the mid and try to get the call on the damage.
Yeah, and a reminder too, this is just a spectating issue. Players are not undergoing the same thing that we are, trying to make sure that we keep up as best as possible, so bear with us. But right now, though, KDS still on that match point. Certainly expected, to me, my guess for this match was going to be a 3-0, but RLM may take one here. I feel like this set has been very back and forth. You can see in that game, too, even when the RLM lost, still right there. I mean, a photo finish. I think even that's respectable, considering this roster has kind of been thrown together at the last second.
Yeah, I mean, for me, the draft in this last set is for Only Realms. That call is really strong, but even with that, they are not winning easily. So we can see that probably KTS today is having a much better day.
Well, David, full 6-shooter on that right-hand side, raining down bullets, and it's enough to get them so close. That 1% could make a difference, though. They need to get Eve on the other end. Now, Only Realm really feeling the pressure from a double lane on that right-hand side. Eve there to clean up. David up in the face becomes a shot.
A lot of damage
all
coming out.
Yeah, we see a hypercharge pop from David, and he's going to make some good contact with the Stave, but not as much as I was anticipating.
Yeah, the Suns delete him. He just hit all of the bullets on his face, and he was complete. And now David getting revenge. Now he's coming to do damage. Lol is rotating now to try to stop that aggression. Meanwhile, Nani don't really know where to go. He has the super, he can TP up. I don't know if he has the gadget ready. They get the kill on Bobby with the whole gadget and super and hypercharge ready. And now it's time for Only Realms to go aggro.
It's going to be a lot tougher now that David was shut down with that hypercharge. They have to get through this first part of the high save and then some. KDS on full defense. Patchy, right-hand side, is backing down Cold. Has to waste a super just to play defense. Devastating stuff, but 24% certainly possible. Top of your screen, Bobby's going to slip away once again. A cleanup crew on the bottom of the map, and KDS flying start to kick off 2026. The old guard will make the semifinals.
Yeah, that was pretty intense, but yeah, this is a good proof that even with a good matchup, if you are not able to win KDS, means that KDS is at least today stronger than you, and they decided to leave the Colt open, right? They have a strategy, it works. I would say against a team of your level, it's not gonna work next time. Be careful with that call. I think the call is really strong these days, and even the Eve and the Nani are really strong. But they prove that they are much better skill-wise. Also, they were swapping a lot the lanes, so mental-wise they are also stronger. Synergy, I saw KDS much superior today.
Worthy of their top 8 spot here in the region so far. Obviously, there's some other squads in North America. I would anticipating putting up a fight once again next month. But for now, David and his squad will be sent back. A top 8 finish, super respectable. But KDS, this is what we expect out of them. And Bobby, Sands, Patchy, they've been around for a long time. They know how important it is, and especially this year with Brawl Cup on the line too. Having a bracket that is seemingly